Hello everyone, Bradley Sward here, day 3 of Advent of Code 2024, otherwise known as, I probably should have spent my time learning how to do this problem other ways than the hacky way that I have solved it, but I get an answer. So here we go, here's the problem. You're looking at a long string of information, and just to my credit here, just to say, especially for part 2, with my puzzle input, there are line breaks that matter somehow, like I don't know, like it doesn't say how to sum them up. Maybe I just misinterpreted the instructions, but when I made this string of 5 separate strings into one long one, I got the right answer very quickly. So anyway, coming back. So you're going through a string and you're trying to figure out, if you see this mull with a parenthesis, and then you're allowed to have 3 numbers up to a comma, then you gotta have 3 numbers after it, and then a closing parenthesis. And you know, some of them can be a little trickier as they show, because you could have, square brackets or closing things that aren't in that specific format. And I see regular expression just staring me in the face, and I just felt like, oh, I'll just hack it, and then it just took me forever to do. But let's take a look at how we can implement something like this for part 1, where we're just looking at a mull and we're just trying to figure out that pattern. Where is my code here? Here is my code. This is day 1's problem. Here's my data all put into one line. And so, what am I doing, right? Oh my goodness, here I'm searching for the mull, and then after it I'm basically just looking to see, trying to find a comma and making sure there's at least one number in front of it. That's just kind of what this code does. It just validates that everything up to the comma is valid, and if it is, well, then we're going to work from there, and we're going to break it down and look at the right. And then now we're going to look ahead and say, well, for the right, if there's a digit there, and all the same thing, now we're looking for the closing parenthesis. Otherwise, we just continue on, and again, if everything works out valid, we have a number on the left, a number on the right, we multiply them together, and we get what we get. So let's see. So if I run this the way it is here, I get the solution of, whatever this number, 1737 with a 482 on the back end, and that is the number 1737 with a 482 on the back end. So that, it's just basically just trying to make sure that you have a pattern, and once you have that pattern, you could break down the two numbers and multiply them together and then sum them up. So then for part 2, it just gets a little trickier on top of this, and again, your mileage may vary about how easy this was for you to solve, or you are where you're looking at this right now. But also, you could have, instead of mull, you could also have a do and a don't, and basically you're enabling or disabling the CPU as you go. Like when you hit a multiplication and there's a don't in front of it, well, don't multiply, even though it says to. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty cool addition to a problem for a part 2. I gotta get much credit for there. But basically what I was doing for my part of the code is just to say, when I find the next mull, I kept the code exactly the same for that part, but I also check to see if there's a do and if there's a don't, and I just check to see that if they occur before the next multiplication, and if they do, I have to make sure that whichever one is the one that comes closest to the mull is the one where we either enable or disable the information or the CPU. So from the standpoint of the code, one more time, for part 2, you can see, this is where I added, this is all the same, this is all the same here, but here, each time I'm doing a search, like I did before for where's the next mull, I'm also checking for a do and a don't, and even from the start here, the do and the don't, and then I just added this code to all of it, basically saying, like what to do in the certain situations if you do find a do. If I do find a do and I don't find a don't, well, then it's enabled. And if I don't find a do and I do find a don't, oh, this is hilarious, right? Then it is not enabled. And the pass isn't necessary, but I just wanted to show the 4 different ways it could go down. Either you have one, you have a do, you have a don't. There's 4 possible ways it could go. And then on the back end of this, you go, well, if there's both of them, whichever one's the one that occurs later, as long as they both occur before the next mull, then whichever one that is going to win. Otherwise, you disable one way or the other. And when I run it this way now, I get the other number here with the answer being 831 and a 140. 831 and a 1, and then I get 831 and a 140. So again, I know I'm the human regex man here doing this, but I got an answer. I got the right answer. I got out of the maze here. Got on to the next room for the next day. So lesson learned. Maybe now I'll spend some time looking into that when I have a free moment sometime in the next year or so. Well, thanks for sticking with it if you're watching this video. Hope day 4 gives us a little break. This one was fun, but it did drag out a bit trying to figure out a solution here. Anyway, have a good one, everybody. Take it easy. See you next time.